Hey YouTube, Brian LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this video, the Amazing Spider-Man number 46 review. So we're going to jump into the story. This is the kind of the aftermath of the gang war we saw last issue. Peter is trying to kind of catch up on things, put some things right back in his life that were kind of put on the back burner during the gang war. Thing that was going on. But we have Zeb Wells writing, and we have a guest artist, Carmen Carnero, and the artwork is done really well. You'll see it as we flip through the pages. So we pick up where we left off last issue. The Sinister Six is kind of getting back together, and one of the missing pieces is Flint Marco Sandman. He is actually in jail, and he happens to be in the same institute that Mary Jane's aunt is, Anna, and we've seen Peter and Sandman cross paths in the last issue, and he set a warning to Peter, because Peter mentioned that he was friends with Spider-Man, and Sandman had said, you know, the Sinister Six is coming for you. Warn Spider-Man that they're coming for him. So we see the Sinister Six here, and we see they're trying to, you know, kind of get the band back together, and Electro elects himself to go break Sandman out of Ravencroft. So we pick up here, we see Peter, and he's kind of thinking about the interaction he had with Sandman and what that means about the Sinister Six coming for him. And then we run into Michelle. She is a lawyer that Peter dated a few issues ago. And but she is the lawyer of Tombstone, and so he has kind of a conflict of interest that he doesn't want to date her because of that. But we see, you know, she's mistaken. She thinks that Peter was about to take her on a second date, and he's like, "No, I never agreed to that." So, kind of a strange interaction. But we see that Jackpot, Mary Jane, is kind of overhears the conversation that everything's going on, and you know, she's kind of intrigued that he's, you know, dating again, and they kind of have a heart-to-heart here. You know, after the interaction with Michelle, Mary Jane and Peter kind of have this heart-to-heart, saying, you know, he understands kind of what happens, but he's still kind of not over her. And MJ kind of, you know, says, look, we make a good team, you know, as now that Mary Jane is a superhero. So there's just kind of this weird moment here with them, and, you know, potentially could mean, you know, could we see maybe them getting back together in the future? Who knows? But certainly Mary Jane's relationship with Paul has not gone over well. And then we cut to Mary Jane's aunt, Anna, and she's still being held, but they are working on getting her out. And she's really made friends with some of the other supervillains that are in Institute as well. And we see her with Sandman there, and we see some of the other you know, bad guys that are in jail with her. And we see that Electro is now setting his sights to try to break out Sandman, and we see it. And we have Spider-Man and MJ, Jackpot, spring into action. And we see Mary Jane's Jackpot's powers here, where she basically has a spin of a roulette wheel, and depending on what comes up on this, you know, this gauntlet that she has on her wrist, she could get, you know, basically a random power to use. So, you know, and we see the nurse protecting Anna, MJ's aunt, and we see some of the other, you know, villains here saying, "Hey, look, we're not going to let anybody hurt Anna," because she's made friends. I mean, she's treated the villains like regular human beings, and so they've really kind of taken to her. And then we see this little, you know, battle going back and forth between Electro and Spidey and Jackpot. And we actually see this little moment here where they're kind of, face to face. And so, Sandman is now kind of defeated here, where he feels like, he's going to be, broken out here by Electro, that he really has no choice. And then we see, he was working on some plants with Anna earlier, and she throws the plant at Electro. And we see, Electro kind of react badly to that and going to hurt Anna. And then we have, like I said, some of the other Hippo and a couple of the other villains there come to her aid and defend her. And ultimately, then Spidey and Jackpot are able to jump in, and then with a big thump here by Hippo, they're able to finally contain Electro. And so then we get to, kind of, everything's calmed down now, and we see that Anna is going to get released. And now we have Electro behind bars, and the nurse is checking in on Sandman. And then again, we have this, conversation with Peter and Mary Jane, and it's kind of a little awkward, like things are not being said, and there still seems like there's some feelings towards one another there. So we'll see where that goes. And then the nurse is checking in on Sandman now that Anna is gone, and Anna was one of his, good friends. And we see that he mentions that Flint Marco he doesn't hear Flint Marco anymore. And if he's not here, then maybe I shouldn't be. And we see him turn into Sandman and, disappear. And then we see MJ and her aunt, talking about the flower pot that she had, and now it's gone. And so we can only assume that Sandman took it. And then we see basically Sandman breaking, flip the past page here. We see the truck being attacked where Electro was, and he's being broken out, we assume. And then we see the final page with the Sinister Six and Sandman and Electro. So Sandman did break them out, and we see them all back together. And they say, what's the plan? And Doc Ock says, "I'm so glad you asked." So that's where we leave off for this issue. So kind of a very quick issue, a quick read. We basically saw the breakout, Sinister Six, complete their plan, break out Sandman, and get the band back together. But I think the interesting piece, the story thread that was interesting was the conversation between MJ and Peter. Seems like obviously that they both still have feelings for one another. So where does this go, right? Because I know one of the big things that people disliked, and I disliked in the Zeb Wells There's a Run, was the fact that Mary Jane was now with Paul and, not in a relationship with Peter, where we saw in the last volume where Peter and MJ were getting back together and everybody was excited about that. And now, throw Paul in the mix, and it's been kind of not well received, let's put it that way. But, overall, this was an okay issue. Like I said, a quick read. Obviously setting up the story here with the Sinister Six for the next issue or two. And then, like I said, I think the biggest thread here, or the biggest piece of information, is this, something going on with MJ and Peter's relationship. It doesn't seem like it's officially done. So, but overall, this was, like I said, an okay issue, quick read. I'll go 5 webhead review system, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. We'll go right in the middle again. We'll go 2.5. Not bad, not great. And the artwork was great. We have a JR cover, and then interiors by the guest artist, which I thought she did a really good job. So that's what I got for you. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this current run of ASM or of this issue. But I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for issue 47.